It's easy to just throw out wild predictions based on what teams have on paper and based on what players that they drafted. We're going to be doing that in today's video, but I will use all of my available resources to convince you why these unsuspecting teams might surprise you in the NFL world. These teams have flaws and most of them probably aren't expected to make the playoffs, but I believe with the changes they've made and with a lot of lady luck on their side, you may see them in the postseason. I'm Hookshot Drew, and make sure you PayPal me a cut of your winnings when all of the teams inevitably prove me right. Now, let's get right into it. You know what? I'm just going to start off hot right now with the Philadelphia Eagles. Wait. No. Don't click off yet. Chill. I understand you're wondering how in the hell is that even possible? How can anyone be so dumb to think the Eagles have a real shot at making the playoffs after that dumpster fire of a season? And you'd be right about just about all of it. But you see, full disclosure here, I am an Eagles fan. This means a couple of things. One, people will assume I'm biased, and I am. And this would mean that I'm a little bit more informed of an Eagles fan. You see, someone that might hate them may not know as much about the team as I do. I'm looking at you, Cowboys fans, in the comments, hovering over that dislike bar. You see, even though I'm a little bit biased here, I do have my reasons for why I think the Eagles could turn it around. Yes, the Eagles were a disaster last season, but quite a bit of that comes down to the massive injury bug that plagued the team throughout the season, especially the offensive line and skill positions. The offensive line in particular struggled with no clear continuity week to week and players being hastily signed only to start and play a few days later. This, on top of no preseason, meant that Wentz and Hurts had no chance in the pocket, easily leading the NFL in sacks allowed. Both passers had very little time to throw, and even if they had time, they were throwing to possibly the worst skill group in the NFL, as Ertz, Goddard, Deshaun Jackson, and Alshon Jeffrey, aka the entire relevant receiving corps, all missed several games each. The defense also had their struggles, but it's hard to judge just how bad they were when they were forcing to more possessions than normal due to the struggling offense. You're probably wondering how on earth, after breaking this all down, could the Eagles still have a chance just this season after that bad year? Well, as the timeless classic cliche often goes, football is a battle won in the trenches. The Eagles still have some of the best lines in the NFL, as they managed to keep all of their key players on both sides of the lines. The groups are healthy and ready to go. The bad skill position group improved, although I would argue a lot of that was addition by subtraction. Jeffrey was a big disappointment after the big extension, and Jackson's second stint left a bad taste in fans' mouth as he missed most of his 2 seasons with the teams with injuries. But the huge get for the Eagles was Heisman Trophy winner Devontae Smith. After using their top draft picks 3 years in a row, surely Smith is a lock this time, knock on wood. He has a legendary work ethic and a receiver that it takes to be a great wide receiver in the NFL, plus his history with Hurts should mean rapport is built right off the bat. Paired with 2020 first rounder Jalen Reagor, who was largely disappointing, but he did show flashes at times, and surprise breakout Travis Fulgham and veterans tight ends Dallas Goedert and Ertz, should mean Hurts has an easier time throwing the football. Defensively, this team has made some improvements to the linebacker and defensive back, signing Anthony Harris and Eric Wilson. These are hardly all pro players, but they're certainly better than what was there before. The main reason I believe the Eagles have a chance is the historically awful NFC East. I don't believe in Daniel Jones' development for the Giants. The Washington don't even have a real quarterback, and the Cowboys are the Cowboys. It's anyone's division this year, and I believe the Eagles have the talent where it counts. It all depends on first-year head coach Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts' progression as a second-year quarterback. You know, I think a lot of you might want a palate cleanser after I took a few minutes to talk about the universally hated Eagles. Let's move on to a team that I find more and more football fans platonically rooting for, the Arizona Cardinals. Now, this one may not be too much of a surprise for a lot of you since they were in contention for most of the season last year. Cardinals have made a lot of strong strides in the last couple of years, mostly centered around young gun quarterback Kyler Murray. The dual sports star has transformed the Cardinals from a lethargic, yawn-inducing offense into an explosive downfield offense with new coach Cliff Kingsbury. The Cardinals defense has also made some nice moves to improve an already pretty decent defense. Future Hall of Famer J.J. Watt joined DeAndre Hopkins as a continued exodus of Texans players. Malcolm Butler and Zaven Collins all stand to improve the Cardinals defense. Robert Alford hasn't played in 2 years due to unfortunate injuries, but maybe he and former Falcon Darqueze Dennard can help the cornerback group overcome the loss of future Hall of Famer Patrick Peterson, who finally departed to many after years of trade rumors. Hassan Reddick leaving free agency didn't help, but with Isaiah Simmons' continued development and the Goliath sack tandem of Chandler Jones and J.J. Watt, I don't anticipate it being a big problem. I just jinxed them all, didn't I? The Cardinals are a very fun team to watch, and they've been hitting the mark on their drafts recently. A large difference between the Cardinals and the Eagles, however, is the competition within their own division. The Rams, Seahawks, 49ers could all very well have a chance to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. It's very possible that the Cardinals have a winning record and still be in 4th place in the NFC. Wouldn't that be crazy to witness? If you paid close attention to the 2021 NFL Draft, you might have noticed a theme among some NFL teams, pairing young quarterbacks with their favorite weapons from college. The Bengals were no different, deciding to use their top pick in the draft to select the game-wrecking Jamar Chase out of LSU to pair with franchise quarterback Joe Burrow. It was a pretty strong gamble as the patchwork offensive line of the Bengals nearly got Burrow killed last season. Not to mention Chase didn't even play in the 2020 season and he opted out due to COVID concerns. This means the Bengals liked the footage they saw from the 2019 season enough when Burrow last played with Chase at LSU that they felt he was worth drafting despite him not playing last season. Paired with Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, Joe Mixon, and a couple of decent tight ends, the Bengals suddenly find themselves one of the most intriguing skill position groups there is. It's too bad this may be one of the worst offensive lines to go alongside that. Defensively, the Bengals acquired a couple of players that should improve one of the worst units from last season. One of the biggest gets of the entire free agency class was Trey Hendrickson, who came out of nowhere last season with 13.5 sacks playing for the Saints. They also got Larry Ogunjobi, a very underrated defensive tackle who played for the Browns. These two players, along with a healthy DJ Reader and Sam Hubbard, should mean the Bengals have a strong defensive line to deal with the power running game the rest of the division is equipped with. I also am a fan of Jermaine Pratt and Jesse Bates. This team needs to address the glaring protection issues that plagued them last season. Zach Taylor also needs to step up as an NFL coach and develop this very talented roster to the level they are capable of playing at. This is a young roster with a ton of upside, but this might be one of the biggest stretches of the list. The AFC North is a strong one with all three teams making the postseason last year, but the Steelers will regress and the Browns are the Browns, right? So there may be a small window of opportunity here, especially over the next year or two. Ah yes, the culture. The culture was actually pretty damn bad. Yet despite that, the nation's capital still somehow has a bright future with their football team. The football team, what a disgusting name. How did the Cleveland Indians get their name so fast comparatively? The football team has a very strong defense, arguably top 5. They have a great coach in Riverboat Ron Rivera and have made some nice moves to improve the offense. Curtis Samuel and Adam Humphries are strong additions to the wide receiver corps, joining scary Terry McLaurin, tight end Logan Thomas, and second-year running back Antonio Gibson, giving Washington and whoever they decide to trot out to quarterback an intriguing skill position group. Washington also managed to improve their O-line by signing embattled offensive tackle Eric Flowers and drafting strong guard prospect Samuel Cosmi. It isn't too reassuring that they will be reassigning Brandon Sheriff, but they did get him for at least one more year via franchise tag.
You like that? You like that?
The football team were the winners of the worst division in football last year, but most experts predict the Cowboys to win this division. I think the football team's elite defense, paired with Rivera's excellent coaching and commitment to the run game, they'll be able to surprise some people and win 9 and 10 games in a weak division. What it really comes down to is Ryan Fitzpatrick, if he is going to be the starting quarterback, and exactly how many turnovers he plans on having. The Windy City has waited closing on 40 years to have the star quarterback needed to deliver them a Lombardi trophy. Desperately, the football world hopes that star is Ohio State's Justin Fields, a very likable, down-to-earth guy who is as tough as nails. Fields fits the Chicago mold like a glove. I will go ahead and immediately speak for all of us when I say that we're rooting for him to be that guy for the Bears. Fields was the prize of the offseason, but the Bears did make other moves. Tevin Jenkins out of Oklahoma State looks like a great prospect at tackle. A lot of the heap of praise in the offseason really should go to the front office, who managed to keep a lot of the core players together. Jermaine Ifedi, the return of Eddie Goldman, Allen Robinson, Tariq Cohen, and others should make this a strong team. With the uncertainty around the Packers, this division may be wide open. Oh boy, this franchise has largely been a big heap of garbage, with a small, embarrassing whimper of a flame atop the mound of garbage. Nothing was really expected of the Jaguars, and they still disappoint us. That all might change. Most likely won't. The Cons still own the team. With the signing of Urban Meyer and the selection of a can't-miss handsome runway model, rookie quarterback Trevor Lawrence, and a couple of noteworthy additions. Pastor Tebow aside, the Jaguars copied the flavor of the month by also drafting Lawrence's college backfield mate, Travis Etienne. How necessary it was to draft Etienne with last year's impressive rookie James Robinson already in the roster, I'm not sure, but it's entirely possible Coach Meyer has something up his sleeve. But then again, Meyer has no pro-level experience. I am basically building an argument against myself here, aren't I? Look, the truth is, this team earned their pitiful record. This team has oh so many holes in this roster. The previous regimes have made sure to grenade this roster as much as possible, but there's still talented players in this team. Miles Jack is still here somehow, and the team signed Marvin Jones and Shaquille Griffin. I'm completely banking on them taking the NFL by surprise. The rest of the AFC South will also need to dip in order for this to happen. This team has intriguing talent on the offensive side of the ball. In my opinion, enough to take a few wins from unsuspecting teams and build some momentum. This team is more likely to ship out Sam Darnold for a 6th-round pick next offseason than they are to make the playoffs. I know, what a strong sell out of the gate, right? This Panthers team resembles almost nothing like the 2017 team that last made the playoffs. A full rebuild is in order and likely won't be over for another 2 years at least. But there's always a chance everything slides into place with head coach Matt Rule's second year at the helm, with project quarterback Sam Darnold in the fold. Darnold was career sabotaged from the very moment that dysfunctional organization up in Jersey decided to draft him, despite needing precisely an entire roster of football players before ever even considering drafting a quarterback at that time. The Jets had more roster holes than Swiss cheese, but that didn't stop them from doing what they did it? I'm not bitter at all, no. The Jets are the butt fumble, seemingly competing with Washington for who can be the biggest screw-up in the organization, with Houston now wanting to get in on this menage a trois. Jokes aside, the Panthers will be getting dynamic multi-threat tailback Christian McCaffrey back. Darnold will have better weapons than he ever had in New Jersey, and with Christian McCaffrey, Curtis Samuel, and old buddy Robbie Anderson. The defense from last year was an underrated unit overexposed by the anemic offense. The additions they made to their defense, Hassan Reddick, AJ Boye, and rookie JC Horn, should improve this roster further. I could see Rule and the coaching staff getting a lot more out of Darnold than the Jets ever could have. And with the Falcons and Saints sliding in power and the Bucs fielding a 43-year-old GOAT at quarterback, the Panthers could make some noise in the NFC South if the chips fall in the right places. I'm sure you're noticing a theme so far, that it seems to matter how the rest of the division does. That's usually how the case is anyway. It doesn't change much with this next election. This team is sneaky loaded after a great offseason of re-signings, free agency pickups, and one of the strongest drafts of any team in the 2021 draft. The Broncos have a really strong hit rate, but this class looks to be a gem right off the bat. The one pertinent weakness? Quarterback. They did get Teddy Bridgewater for peanuts from Carolina, but it's hard to know exactly how effective he is after that lackluster season. He is safe with the football and usually makes the right reads, which immediately gives him an advantage over the talented but erratic Drew Lock. The real domino lies with the Aaron Rodgers situation. If Denver can somehow get their hands on the MVP, I don't see how Denver doesn't instantly become strong favorites to win the Super Bowl. The Broncos were hit hardest by the injuries last season. This season is strongly dependent on them being healthy. But with a strong defense, starting with the strong pass rush of Von Miller, Bradley Chubb, and Shelby Harris, the secondary benefits from the return of Justin Simmons and the drafting of Patrick Surtain Jr., who looks the part of an elite player coming soon. I'm buying high on the Broncos' success this year. I have a feeling they may get lucky soon enough. The skill position group is a strong one, with Melvin Gordon and impressive rookie Javonte Williams at tailback, and an intriguing receiving core of Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, Tim Patrick, and KJ Hamler. The offensive line wasn't as bad as the numbers might indicate and would certainly benefit from an offseason together. All is dependent on the play behind center, but I can see the Broncos winning 10 games and sneaking into a wildcard team. Similar to their division rival, the Chargers have been snake-bitten by injuries harshly the past couple of seasons. Even still, Justin Herbert was a surprising revelation, as I doubt anyone saw his historic rookie season coming. A large catalyst for the Chargers, of course, is the offensive line. This will almost be an entirely new group. Packer great Corey Linsley comes over, with Rashawn Slater being a strong rookie guard that looks ready to go right out of the gate. If Brian Beluga, another Packer great. What are the chances that Packers get a trade package going involving Aaron Rodgers for Justin Herbert? If Beluga can stay healthy, this is the makings of one of the strongest O-lines in the NFL. The Chargers have good weapons surrounding Herbert, with Austin Eckler, Keenan Allen, and Mike Williams already proven players, as well as rookie Josh Palmer, second-year wide receiver Tyron Johnson looking great as well. It all comes down to health yet again, especially for this defense. One of my personal favorite players in this league, Derwin James, is the very crux of the snakebite for this team. Here lies a potential Hall of Fame level player that just keeps getting tough breaks with season-ending injuries. It's a damn shame, and the Chargers have lost entire season starting with his injury and ending with 10 to 15 others joining him on IR in quick succession. As he goes, this defense goes. There's talent here, of course. Joey Bosa, Linval Joseph, Kenneth Murray, Justin Jones, Nasir Adderley, and the rookie Asante Samuel Jr., all heading the names. This is a team of unquestioned talent, but can they stay healthy? Charger fans know pain all too well. It would be nice to see this team stay relatively healthy for a change and see what they can do with that talent. It sucks to see Phillip Rivers never take him to the Super Bowl. Let's hope the same fate doesn't fall on young Justin Herbert. This video wasn't as easy to make as you might think. Essentially taking teams that didn't finish well last year and seeing who has the best chances to turn it around immediately and make the playoffs usually isn't rational. But yet at least a couple of teams seem to pull it off every year. Let us know in the comments which of these teams you think is most likely to be a sleeper team. Which teams do you think we missed? Let us know if there are any topics you'd like us to cover in the future. Consider subscribing so you don't miss our next video, covering the teams most likely to implode next year. Definitely going to rustle some jimmies with that one. Take a look at these other videos we've made too. I'm Hookshot Drew, and I'll be seeing you in the next one. Thank you for watching.